Welcome back to the Mom Curious podcast. This is Daniella Rabbani with a very special episode. We are hosting Vikki Cohen, the mother of Nimrod Cohen, who was kidnapped to Gaza on October 7th, 2023. That is over a year ago now. She and her husband and her two children have been fighting for Nimrod to come home every day ever since. It is my honor and, not my pleasure at all, actually, to introduce you to Vikki, who is braver than brave, braver than than she should be, actually. Vikki, welcome. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you for sharing your story to this American audience of mostly mothers. And I can't believe we're here over a year later. So the floor is yours. Tell us how we got here. How did we?
First of all, I want to say that I'm not brave. I'm only a mother that misses her son so much. I miss Nimrod so much. More than 1 year not to see him, not to hear his voice, not to see his smile. It's something that only a mother can understand.
Mamash,
really. So I will do everything I can to bring him back home. And if I'm thinking of almost more than 1 year past, I can understand it with logically, but in the heart, I cannot understand it. My heart is still on October 7, as if it happened only a month ago. It's still very fresh and very hurting. The heart is broken, and since that Saturday.
Vikki, I want you to know that our hearts are broken with you, that you're not alone in this, that even my producer, who is not a Jewish woman, the moment our mutual connection reached out for this episode to happen, we dropped everything and said, whenever Vikki is ready, we're here. I just want you to know that. I don't know if it helps much, but you're not alone.
It helps. Yeah, thank you.
Can you tell us about Nimrod? He's 20 years old, huh?
He's 20 years old. Yeah, he has a twin sister, Romi, and Yotam is the oldest, is 3 years older than Nimrod and Romi. Nimrod is very quiet and very sensitive. He's very shy, very naive, always looking for others. He's a peacemaker. He not all the time thinking of the sake of all the group and not only on himself. And that's why many people loves him very much. Even at school, the teachers always he was very fond of them, and it was mutual. People loves him. He's good. He's a good person, really.
Yeah, you can see it in his eyes in the pictures that you share.
Yeah.
He's like he's a really sweet young boy.
Yeah.
So on October 7th of last year, he was a soldier?
He's a soldier, yeah. And he was kidnapped together with the team that was in the tank together with him near the border. They were protecting the border when the Hamas entered Israel. And he was not attacking, he was only protecting. And they didn't have any chance against all the many Hamas that came and attacking all the kibbutz and all the settlement near the border.
can you tell me, I'm assuming you also served in the army, is that right? Like you, your
Yeah,
husband, your other children, that this is sort of normal, or it's mandatory for every
yeah, yeah, yeah.
citizen.
For me, it was a
And
long time ago, but lately, Nimrod's twin sister, Romy, enjoyed the army. Even though it's we are obligated to do it, we want to do it. It's our country. We want to serve the country. We don't have anything against the country. We have against our prime minister, the government, but not the country. We love the country. We love Israel. We want to live here, no other place.
I really appreciate you saying that because I know that there are, you have been on the streets every single week protesting, begging for a deal and a ceasefire for your child to come home. And he really is just a child who was
Yeah,
doing his
he's a child.
mandatory, he's a boy.
He's a boy.
He was doing his mandatory service. All you're asking for is for the government to do their job in bringing him home, which has,
Yeah,
for the history of the state of Israel, we have always done everything in our power to bring any captives home. Um, I see that you often ask the Jewish diaspora why we are not more involved in that tension between you and many other hostage families and the prime minister in particular. And maybe, Vikki, maybe you can tell us the ins and outs in a way that we can understand, because I think many diaspora Jews are timid in this way. They want to support the state of Israel. Just like you said, you love this country. You
yeah,
love Israel.
yeah,
There's nowhere else for you to live. We don't have another country. We only have one Jewish country. We want to
yeah,
serve our country.
yeah,
I I appreciate that you, of course, hold that view, which is under attack here in the diaspora. And we have to do better by the citizens of Israel in Israel.
yeah, yeah,
Maybe you can lay that out for us in a way.
yeah. We mean that it's not enough that the Jewish community will say, we want to bring them back. Everybody wants that the hostages will come back home. We know, but it's not enough to say, bring them back home. It's needed to say how they will how it's possible to bring them home. Only by stop the war and sign a deal. It's the only way to bring them back. The soldiers who are risking their lives in Gaza are not capable to bring all the 101 hostages. It's not possible. And we hear that every day soldiers dying in the war, in fighting. The war is not good for anyone, not only for the hostages, but see the population in Israel, the population in the citizens who are living in the north. They cannot come back to their houses, and also in the south of Israel, near Gaza. It's a situation that it's not good for anyone. So it's
Right.
the best thing is to do is to stop the war. We can
And your
deal,
call,
and the Hamas are not capable to do a second 7 of October. It cannot happen again. We we had a successful project in Gaza, and there are less Hamas who are fighting. So now it's the time to stop.
hmm, hmm.
That's
Also
what we
because
believe.
there's also tremendous devastation in Gaza by the Gazan civilians, and I know that you you and your husband have taken to the streets and said enough is enough
Enough
there
for the
too.
both sides. It's enough.
It's enough.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you laying that out right in the beginning, because I think there is some confusion, Vikki, here in the United States, of course, with Zionists who love the state of Israel, Jewish people who understand that without the state of Israel, world Jewry really is, you know, unsafe. And we can advocate for the state of Israel to be better within Israel. Um, and you have for such a long time, because, I know that the citizens of Israel, many hundreds of thousands, took to the streets before this war opposing Bibi Netanyahu.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if you can walk us through the day on October 7th so that we can really understand what's going on with Nimrod, with your family. Would you take us back to that day?
Yeah. Early in the morning, the last conversation with Nimrod was on Friday in the afternoon. We called him to say Shabbat Shalom, and he was playing with one of the soldiers in his base. The base was near the border, near him, and he was sounds very pleased, very happy, and yeah, uh, and no clue what is going on the next day. Early in the morning, we wake up, we find the siren, and we went to the basement to the safety room, and we thought to ourselves, it's another got we gone through it before when there were rockets to Israel from Gaza, and we thought
Yeah.
it will stop and we continue the day, and but it didn't happen, and we suddenly got information in the media that they were attacking inside the state of Israel, not only near the border. And we thought about Nimrod. Nimrod is near the border. What's going on with him? We tried to call him. He didn't answer. And only at noontime, my husband, Yuda, find out a video that Hamas released on YouTube. And in the video, we saw Nimrod. Nimrod is taken out from the tank, dragged in the ground, and taken to Gaza. And on that time, me, Yuda, and Romi, the sister of Nimrod, were at home, and we were shocked. And we were shocked. We couldn't breathe when we saw it. Imagine to yourself to recognize the face of Nimrod, my son. I cannot, it's a moment I will never forget in my whole life.
I'm sorry. That's not a moment that you should have ever experienced, Vikki. I'm so sorry.
It was so difficult. Only a sign of life that we heard a few months ago. We got a sign of life that is still alive. We don't know what does it mean, because the intelligence don't want to expose the sources, so they only say a sign of life, but we don't know what's going on with him now.
Right.
How
Right.
is he doing? If he have enough food, if he sleeps, how is his mentally situation, physically and mentally? We don't know.
What we do know is that the situation is dire. What we do know from the people who came back after, how many days was it? 50 something?
52
Between
days.
50,
Yeah. 52
we
days
know,
was the first deal.
We know from them that it's been dire for more
Yeah,
than a year.
yeah. It's a
Yeah,
long time. It's a long time to live in the tunnels. It's a long time, more than 1 year.
it's too long,
You
Vikki.
cannot imagine.
Yeah. Um, and I I wonder what have you been up to since then? You, what 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 have the hostage families been going through? How have you been petitioning for your son? What is it like in Israel right now? What is your life
For,
like?
yeah, first of all, personally, my life changed. I stopped
Yeah,
work, and I I can tell you that it's hurt my health. I don't sleep very well, and the only thing I do is do things that will that hope will bring Nimrod back home. Is going to protest and meeting, interview, whatever it's necessary. I pray. I do a lot of meditation that Nimrod is coming back home,
amen,
and
amen.
everything that I it's possible for me to do, I'm doing. It's
Today is a holiday, and I said Chag Sameach to you, which means happy holiday, and you said we're not celebrating. We haven't
no,
celebrated. But
no.
on the last time that you spoke to Nimrod, you wished him a Shabbat Shalom, so you at some point did celebrate some holidays, no?
We don't celebrate, but when any of our children is staying the Shabbat in the army or someplace else, we call and say Shabbat Shalom. It's
Yeah,
a tradition thing that we
yeah.
do.
But you're not willing to celebrate any holidays right now. Right now, it's not until he
It's
comes home.
I don't feel that I can do it.
Yeah.
I want
I,
I want to. We have a missing family.
yeah.
Nimrod is missing to us. So we cannot do things like this, that it's a family tradition to do it without him. It won't be the same.
No.
Even the children feel the same. They don't want to do anything without their brother.
Yeah.
And we understand it.
I saw a clip of Yuda, your husband, on Israeli TV saying, I want Nimrod to see this or to hear this because we know from other hostages that they are aware of what's going on in the media. And I want Nimrod to see me on the street. I want Nimrod to know that I'm fighting for him. I want Nimrod to know that I will be here for him, whatever state he's in.
Yeah. We feel the same and we think the same. We are trying to make interview as much as we can from that reason that Yuda said that maybe Nimrod hear us, see us in the media, and I'm sure it will give him hope and a faith, and it will make him get through the time that he's there. He needs something for the spirit.
Yeah, you really have gotten through to me. And I, as a person who even understands the landscape in Israel because my parents are Israeli, a person who loves the state of Israel, who advocates loudly and proudly. Even I have had a hard time navigating criticism of the government because in this world we're living in where it's so black and white, either we're going to wipe the state of Israel off the map, or it's so silly, Vikki, it's so silly. But it's the world we're living in, and I want to just thank you so much because what you're saying is I believe in the state of Israel.
Of
We're not going
course.
anywhere. The Palestinian people are not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And this is no way to live. We can't keep doing this.
Yeah.
Enough is enough. For a long time, people thought when people are calling for a ceasefire deal, they're putting so much onus on Netanyahu and not enough on Hamas. And I think there is, I'm assuming that you know who you're up against. These are not negotiating types, but maybe I can let you speak to that so that the person hearing can feel a little more emboldened to advocate for a deal.
You know, we cannot protest against Hamas. We
Right.
cannot. But we can ask our government, our prime minister, to do the right thing. And the right thing is to stop the war and sign a deal that will bring the people that are still alive there. We must bring them back home.
Yes.
And also the dead, the the people that are not alive, they must brought and and have a grave in Israel,
Proper
respectable.
burial.
Yeah, yeah, it's also very important. So
Closure.
it is the right thing to do, and it's a brave thing to do. And he must think of the society of Israel, what is best for the society, not only best for his own, uh, for his personal
Home self.
thing.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well,
but
they say that Bibi is not to get too political, but they say that he is really advocating for his own survival because he would be in jail if he weren't in office. Um, and that is just unacceptable. It's just like an unacceptable way to lead a
he won't.
people.
Yeah, he wants to keep his coalition as it is now, and he wants to stay as a prime minister. But if he will sign a deal, probably the most extreme minister in the coalition will break it, and it will risk his the, the government. I,
Right.
I hope I can. You understand what I'm saying?
I understand
So
what you're saying. And also, if you ever want to speak in Hebrew, and I can translate that if it's easier,
yeah,
because you have so
okay.
much to offer, Vicky, and I want the people who are listening have already understood that so many Jewish people in Israel and outside of Israel want peace, don't want to
Yeah,
live like this. We
but
can mourn, we can
we
mourn two
can.
people suffering at the same time.
Yeah, but it's very important to say that we cannot rebuild our society again without bringing back the hostages, without
Thank you.
that Nimrod and the other hostages were brought back home. We cannot continue our life. Not only my family. People in the street are saying to me, you know, Nimrod is your son, but he's also our son. We want him, we want him back home. We want him
Yeah,
be released. It's
yeah.
it's for all the people who are living in Israel. It's not
And
something
outside of Israel.
personally.
I want you to know that also outside of Israel, Vicky, that when I look at
Thank you.
Nimrod, sweet face, his sweet, beautiful face. You know, I have a son, he's almost 8 years old. That's not so much younger than Nimrod. And, I live in the United States, but my brother served in the army. He was in Givati. My father served in
Mhm.
the Yom Kippur War. My cousins are in the army. You know,
Wow.
I want you to know that it's not just the people of Israel in Israel who believe Nimrod is their son. To me, this is a boy who really could be my son, my cousin, my he really is my family. There are people like my producer who are not Jewish who see this sweet face and his parents, his twin sister, his older brother, they see him and they say, this really could be any one of us. This is a young boy who did nothing wrong.
No,
He needs to be brought home.
he was sent as a soldier. He was sent by the government, by the army, to protect the citizen in Israel. So the state of Israel, the government, has the duty to bring him back.
Right.
It's also for the other soldiers that are fighting now. They need to know that something will happen to them. The army will bring them back home.
Which was
And
always the
not,
promise. I mean, there was, people talk a lot about Gilad Shalit in a lot of different ways, but if we, you know, for one soldier, the whole nation was in so much agony to bring him home.
I remember. Yeah.
Like I remember the song for Ron Arad. Do you remember that song from Boaz Sharabi? ואז נשיר ברון, נשיר ברון, נשיר ברון. Like one soldier really tore our people apart. And now we have 101 hostages.
It's a lot.
It's too many.
It's
And
too
there was
many.
always a promise that they would be brought home.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
We have to fulfill that promise.
Yeah.
What do you think we as American Jews can do to support you?
To say loud, as we say, that only a deal can bring them back home. Only if the Prime Minister be brave and sign a deal, it will be possible. The only way. The war is not doing good for any of the sides. War is not, it's not something good. We must reach to peace. Eventually, we want peace. We don't
We want
want
peace.
war.
No, we don't. Vikki, is there anything else I can touch on here so that I'm still mindful of your time and also that we really have the ear of our audience lucky enough to hear you?
Even though more than 1 year passed, I still have the hope,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm praying that I'm gonna hug Nimrod again, and that is I choose to believe in this, to see the picture that I'm holding him in my arms, and that's what I'm also asking the Jewish community, also to say that what is needed, and to be with us, to support us. It's very important. We see all the people that are coming to be with us in the streets, going to the protest, and it's the same people come every day, every evening they come. It's
Wow.
it's we need these people to be with us. We cannot do it alone. The support is very important.
And not just from the Jewish community, Vikki. There are people outside of the Jewish community, inside the Jewish community, who are really with you. And if we can just turn up the volume, I really appreciate you reminding us that there is still hope. That
Yeah,
really there is still hope. There
yeah,
is. We know that many of them are alive and that they will come home. And we
yeah.
have to hold that vision, because without that vision, there's no action. If there's no action, this just keeps going on, and that is not an option.
You're right.
I really, really love you. You have the love of so many people. I'm just able to say it to you out loud. I'm here for you. I'm with you.
Appreciate it.
Not just
Thank
me,
you.
but
Thank you.
I represent a lot of people in the Jewish community here in New York. We really love you, Vikki. We really
Thank you.
love Nimrod, that sweet boy. We're here for you, and I will take your advice and I will say it loudly. We need a deal to bring them home.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next time I hear from you, besorot tovot, in good news,
Amen.
okay?
Toda. Amen. Amen.
Thank you, as always, for listening to the Mom Curious podcast. My name is Daniella Rabbani. I am your host, and I would love to continue this conversation at Daniella Rabbani on Instagram. And if you'd be so kind to rate and review, share this podcast, I would be just really grateful. Catch you next time, every Tuesday on the Mom Curious podcast, produced by Hoff Studios. You can find them at Hoff Studios on Instagram as well. All right, have a great day.